Clicky buttons are 10 times better than membrane. Oh boy. Welcome back to another episode of Hot Takes with Jake, the show where I take your hottest takes, respond to them, and throw it back to you guys in the comments down below. If you want your hottest takes included in the next episode, give me your hottest takes on the Nintendo Switch in those comments down below. Otherwise, we're going to get started with the Game Boy modding community's hottest takes. Starting with @BladeReynolds on YouTube, they said, I think rechargeable LiPo batteries are not necessary for modded Game Boys. Seeing them installed looks cool, but having rechargeable AA and AAAs cuts on the wait time, and you always have a set of batteries ready to go. I'd never use a handheld while plugged into the charger. I could not agree more. I absolutely hate when I have to be tethered to the wall, charging my phone, charging my Steam Deck, whatever handheld I'm using at the time. It sucks. These devices are meant to be taken on the go. Another huge part to this is most of these modded Game Boys that are modded with LiPo batteries are not meant to be charged while playing. Shout out to Natalie the Nerd's Safer Charge. I think that's available now. She's actually made it so you can charge while playing. It still scares me because LiPo batteries terrify me, but if there's anybody I trust in this community, it's definitely Natalie. But yeah, make sure you don't charge while playing unless you know for sure that your mod is okay with that. And also, as a friendly reminder, the TP4056, whatever these USB-C modules are, those run really hot. Don't put them on the battery. But yeah, when people ask me if I like LiPo battery mods, I usually recommend getting rechargeable AA's. Getting a pack of Latas, you get 4 of them, so unless you're running a DMG, you're going to have 2 sets of batteries, and you can always have 1 set charged at any given time. Plus, I don't know how many of you are playing Game Boy for like 8-hour stretches. It should be fine. But I guess you could say the same thing for LiPo battery mods. You're probably not going to run through an entire battery in one sitting. But yeah, I don't know if that's a hot take, but it's a great take for sure. What's not a hot take is I look fantastic, and I have Into the AM to thank for this. They sponsored this portion of the video to have me try out their clothes, and I genuinely love them. Their shirts are magically soft, and my favorite part is they properly fit men's shoulders. I recommend checking them out at intotheam.com/Jake, link in the description. They have a wide selection of high quality prints in plain colors. And you can save 10% store-wide with code JAKE at checkout. JAKE. And you won't want to miss their huge Black Friday sale. And thanks again to Into the AM for sponsoring this portion of the video. Now into the next hottest take from @ChewyChicken589. I don't hate the SP, but I hate that it takes love from the regular GBA. I partially agree with this one. Now I know I'm famous for hating the SP. I made a whole video on it, but I don't hate it as much anymore. After doing what feels like thousands of SP mods at this point, I've gotten used to it. I've gotten into a flow with them. They're fairly easy now for me, but punching out those hinges the first 100 times can be kind of difficult. Once you hit that sweet spot, that flow, it's not that bad. You only have 1 wire to solder for 99% of mods, and even then you don't have to if you don't want to. But my point still stands that it is wildly uncomfortable for anybody with adult-sized hands. It's too thin, it's too small. My hands hold each other while I'm playing. I don't like it, and I absolutely agree that I don't like that it takes love from the regular GBA, aka the better GBA model, because that's exactly what it is. Now, I think a lot of handhelds suffer from being a little too thin like the SP, because the DS has that problem with me too. That's why I love the DMG, because it is the bulkiest and it actually fits normal sized hands better. Sorry, Natalie, throwing your hot take in this one too, I guess. Love the DMG for the thickness alone. That's why I don't like the Pocket so much. The Game Boy Color has a bit of a booty, so it's better. But the Wide Boy, not this Wide Boy, the GBA, it's wide enough and thick enough. It feels good in the hands. It feels good to play. I really can't complain too much. But the SP, yeah, I still don't like it. My favorite part of the SP, it has made me a lot of money, so thank you for that. You keep buying them, I'll keep modding them. If there's any left in stock, retroremaster.com. Let me know in the comments, what do you prefer, SP or the better GBA? Next up is @MXDeannaRose. People that play modded consoles have no right to tell anyone what is the right way to play certain games. Also, Repro Carts are a great investment if you don't want to pour $500,000 on certain games. And yeah, I agree on both those points. And this really goes for like anything with opinions. You don't need to shove your opinion down my throat. Sometimes it just sounds like people are doing that. Other times they are doing that. If you like emulating games on your computer, great. If you like playing on original hardware, unmodded, go for it. If you want to IPS mod your Game Boy Advance, put a LiPo battery in there, upgrade the speaker, dock it, and use a SNES controller for some reason, that's your prerogative. Sometimes I'm just all stock. Sometimes I want to play on my CRT instead of my beautiful LG OLED. Do whatever you want. Don't let people tell you not to, unless it's me. Listen to me. And as far as repro carts, do what you want. I'm not going to tell you to pirate games. I will tell you not to pirate games to save my skin. Spending $5 versus $200 definitely sounds better. I can't speak for the quality of a lot of repro carts. Some of them are just bad. Some of them are totally fine. I would just say do your research before buying a repro cart and expect it to not be the best experience. Go in hopeful, maybe. I don't know. I don't make money if you buy a repro cart or original, so I don't care. Next up is at Squealin Rock. Clicky buttons are 10 times better than membrane. Oh boy. I modded my GBA to have a similar feeling to the SP because I can't stand the original feel. Let me preface this by reminding you what we just said in the last hot take. However you want to play, however you want to play. With that being said, this is a hot takes video. I gotta say my opinion. No, wrong. I used to really hate the SP clicky buttons because they would fail, and I hate them in a different way now. Those switches would fail, but that was my fault. I didn't know back then that you shouldn't use IPA on those buttons. It's not good for the buttons, so don't use IPA on SP motherboards unless you're very careful around the buttons. But now I hate them in a very different way where when they do fail, you can't just go and clean them. You have to replace them, and they are so tight to the board that it's hard to lift them up while desoldering it, and I just don't like them. I don't mind playing with them, but just as a whole, I don't like playing with SPs. I'm also not like the keyboard enthusiast type. I still use the same cheap HyperX membrane keyboard. If any keyboard companies want to change my mind, you can send a keyboard to this PO box right here. Make sure it's decent though, or else I won't review it. But I love the membrane feel of all the Game Boys. The DMG, the Pocket, the Color, the Advance, they all feel good. Especially when you replace it with a new membrane, as long as they're not too stiff on like start and select. They're snappy, they feel good. I don't know. I prefer it. I like a little bit of travel, not too much travel, but a little bit of travel with my buttons. But either way, I definitely prefer the original membrane feel. It's okay with the SP because it was meant to work like that, but I really don't prefer the clicky button mods. Oh, this is from them as well. You had another good hot take, which it really isn't a hot take. I don't know if it's even a take, but the same person, I'm sorry again, I don't know how to pronounce your name. They said, most of us are just here for the modding part. We almost never actually play. And yeah, I totally agree because that was me up until a couple months ago. I did, for the most part, play through all the Game Boy games that I wanted to once I got into this whole modding thing. And while there still are some Game Boy games that I haven't played before that I want to, a lot of the fun part for me is actually modding these things, doing the cool projects, making the cool looking devices, and making money. But all of this, the streaming, the videos, the editing, the making mods takes a lot of time, and I just don't get a ton of extra time to play the video games. So that's why I made a podcast with one of my closest friends, Jordan. If you haven't heard, we started the Backlog Club back in October. We play a video game every week alongside of you guys. Well, at least that's the hope, that you play along with us, even if you've played the game before. And we talk about it every Saturday on the Backlog Club channel. I'll have it linked in the description and at the end of this video. Tomorrow's episode is Pokemon Red and Blue, so get subscribed over there. Go watch all of those. We have some really great content on there. It's a lot of fun. Hopefully it gets you to play more video games like me. Thank you for all of your hottest takes. I'll leave you with one here. My hottest take for Game Boy modding isn't that I hate the SP. Maybe it is, you can decide. But I think that any sort of audio mod other than just replacing a bad speaker is pointless. Game Boys just don't have the highest quality sound, and when you add an amp to that, it just amplifies the bad sound. It amplifies everything. It's just a louder version of what you had before, and those speakers are too small for it to really do any good. Replace your capacitors, replace the speaker, don't do anything else. Like I said at the beginning of this video, if you want to be a part of the next one, leave your hottest takes about the Nintendo Switch down in those comments down below. But also respond to the hot takes we talked about today. Sure, a lot of you have a lot of things to say like you did last time, but surprisingly, you agreed with me last time. If you want to go watch that video, I'll have that linked at the end and down below. We talked a lot about the N64 and PS1 not being so great anymore. Subscribe to this channel, like the video, and comment down below your thoughts on all of this stuff. But that's it for me, so I will see you guys in the next one. Later, guys. Then we've got Swillen Rock. I apologize.